Hey, and welcome back to the Siblings in Wonderland podcast. This week, we're adding on to our guide series in the Magic Kingdom, and we're going to Adventureland. So, in this guide series, we're just taking you through the basics and everything in Walt Disney World, park by park, and if that park has lands, then land by land. This episode is all about Adventureland, and we're just talking about what rides are there, what restaurants, attractions, what's a Dole Whip, and why is everyone so obsessed with it. All of those questions will be answered right here, but first, the weekly news recap.
This week has been pretty slow news-wise. Really, the only significant thing was Shanghai reopening and the measures that they took.
Mm-hmm. And we haven't really seen the long-term effects of this, obviously. I'm sure they're going to come out with some sort of a data analysis or something.
Yeah.
But, so far, we've had a regular week. So before we walk through, we're just going to give a little bit of extra information.
So, just an overview of the land. This is one of the smallest lands in Magic Kingdom. It is the smallest other than Liberty Square, which can't really be counted as a land, I guess. So, last episode we talked about Sorcerers of the Magic Kingdom. That is in this land, but it's not to the level. There are a couple portals, but not as many as Main Street or Fantasyland because it's such a small land. This land actually has a separate adventure, little interactive game, called A Pirate's Adventure Treasure of the Seven Seas. It's more like a scavenger hunt than like an interactive game. You kind of just go around the land and tap things with your magic band, and like animatronics happen, but
it's way more themed than the Sorcerers of the Magic Kingdom.
Right.
I'm just going to say SMK. So SMK is all Disney characters.
Yes.
It's not very specific, but A Pirate's Adventure is obviously very specific to pirates and Adventureland. So there's less to do with it. There's less portals and stuff, and it takes about 1 day to complete.
Compared to like
a week.
Yeah. And that's just one of the levels of the SMK.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and I don't usually rope drop Magic Kingdom because I feel like we usually get good fast passes and I can do what I want in a day, but you rope drop a lot. So,
yes. So my recommendations for rope drop are, if you're going to rope drop anything in Adventureland, definitely do Jungle Cruise. Jungle Cruise can get up to like 130.
Which may sound crazy, but it can.
Yeah, so that's definitely one to look out for, and that's up there in my rope drop list. But if you're going to Frontierland for rope drop, this is the one you want to go through. Liberty Square is going to take way too long because you have to wrap all the way around, and we'll get to that next episode. But just, if you remember anything from this podcast, do not rope drop Frontierland in Liberty Square. Go through.
Like, if you can't rope drop just starting in Frontierland, you have to go through somewhere.
Right.
So
it's a
go through,
landlocked thing,
right.
I guess.
Go through Adventureland and not Liberty Square.
Right.
Unless, you want to stand around. Some people want to do that. So we're getting into Adventureland, the entryway. From Main Street, you take a left, and I feel like it's pretty obvious. It's a big wooden bridge with a lot of good theming, like tikis and stuff.
Yeah.
So it should be fairly obvious. And it's fairly obvious. That's all I have to say.
It's pretty obvious. So from Main Street, you take a left right next to Crystal Palace, which we went into last week. It's just right there. It's a little bridge, and it's pretty self-explanatory from there. So
there's kiosks on the left and the right as you're coming up. The kiosks on the left are more merchandise themed, and this is the first Dole Whip conversation we're gonna have. So Sunshine Tree Terrace on the right. If you don't like pineapple, but you really want the Dole Whip experience, they have an orange version here, and it's a lot less crowded. So
there's barely any lines ever.
Definitely. And if you ever go try to buy a Dole Whip, you know what the lines can be like.
Right.
So if you're not into that anyway, go on to Sunshine Tree Terrace. I feel like it's pretty hidden, so not a lot of people go there.
Yeah, I don't...
So...
It's not very well known. It's kind of hidden.
They're still good, though.
They're so good. Sometimes I just have had enough with Dole Whips and go with that. So
it's a pretty safe bet.
Right. Walking further, you get to Skipper Canteen, which is a sit-down restaurant. All ears rated at 7.53, which is pretty low for Magic Kingdom. But I like it. I know why it's so low, though, because it's got exotic food and more adventurous food. Like, they have lionfish on the menu.
Which also means it's expensive.
It's not expensive compared to the rest of Magic Kingdom. It's like $35 a person, which sit down in Magic Kingdom, you're not really going to get any lower than that.
Yeah. Just, if you have kids, I know some kids are adventurous, but kids who like to stick to their cheese quesadillas, chicken tenders, and mac and cheese, this probably isn't going to be the place for them.
Right. It's a bit much for them. So, this is a Jungle Cruise themed restaurant. Name Skipper Canteen kind of gives it away, but I want to get into, there are a lot of like SEA references, which is the secret society that the Imagineers have put into all of the Disney parks. It's the Society of Explorers and Adventurers. Like even Indiana Jones is in it. And there are like little references dotted throughout all of the parks. Tokyo Disney Sea has a lot of references to it. And I find it really interesting. There are a lot of videos online about it, explaining it, and they're really interesting.
So the price level, moderate, but again, not really a family place, just summing it up.
Yeah, it's more high dining.
Yes. So on the left, you're going to see the first attraction in Adventureland, which is the Swiss Family Robinson Treehouse. This is a walk-through treehouse. It's I wouldn't say it's a lot of walking, but it is all walking, and it's stairs since it's a treehouse. You just kind of walk through this.
There's not really much. It's very well themed, but it's not like there's a show at the top.
Yeah. If you need to get out of the crowd and you feel overwhelmed, it's a good place to kind of just like walk. If you're into architecture and I don't know, shipwrecks, you're gonna like it. I think it's an interesting thing to do, just to walk through, but I don't find it something that I'm seeking out.
Yeah, I'm not doing it every time I go to Adventureland. Maybe I'll go every once in a while, but it's not on the list.
It's not a must do, for sure. So on your right, you're going to see the Sunglass Hut and the big bathrooms. So with Disney, if you forget something and you need to buy it at a Disney store, it's going to be more expensive than if you take an Uber to go to Walmart from your resort or hotel. So this is no exception. If you forgot your sunglasses or sunscreen and you really need them because it's in Florida, sometimes you need some protection.
Right.
You can buy that here, as well as bathrooms. If they're shaded, so you can sit there, calm down for a second. There are some water fountains, just a nice rest spot. And then we go into a different theme section, which is the bazaar. So this is kind of a circle, and it wraps around Magic Carpets of Aladdin, which is a similar ride to Dumbo. It's
the same ride system as Dumbo.
But it's different themed.
It's reskinned, and instead of like going up and down, you still go up and down, but you have the extra option of tilting. Forward and backwards, which I think is interesting for the first 6 times.
Yeah, I feel like it's more of a family attraction.
It's definitely more suited to kids.
Yeah, we're going to come back to that. Don't worry. So whenever you're walking up to the bazaar, you're going to see a big camel. And it's a great place to sit and watch people because the camel spits. So you can kind of guess that it does because there's like wet spots on the ground. But be careful. If you don't want to walk around with wet clothes all day, watch out for the camel because it will spit at you. That's
one of our favorite things to do in Magic Kingdom is just sit there and
sit with your Dole Whip and watch unsuspecting guests just get...
They really need benches right there.
Get spit on. Yeah. So we're going to go around the circle to the right. That's the Agrabah Bazaar, which is the Aladdin and Jasmine themed store.
Yes.
It reminds me of the Indiana Jones store with, like, it has snakes and whips and that kind of stuff.
if you could buy all of the merchandise for an adventure movie, just generically, that's what's in this store.
Yeah.
It's like a lamp that is made of brass and a whip and a rubber snake. Like, it's a bunch of random stuff, but it is adventure themed.
And you can also meet Aladdin and Jasmine here. So this is a meet and greet that's very popular and gets filled up really fast.
Yeah.
I don't think that they have fast passes for this. I'm not
think
sure.
the line gets more than probably 15 minutes, but it's definitely always 15 minutes.
Oh, I've seen it way longer.
Oh.
Yeah, it's very popular.
Okay.
So you can meet both of them here, and I don't think we've ever met them there, actually, because the line is always so long.
Right.
But we watch a lot of vloggers, and it seems like their character interactions are always really fun. So since this is the first land, we're seeing our first ride, our first meet and greet, kind of like we talked about Mickey and Tinkerbell, but this is the first time we're going to go in depth about those things. So speaking about character meet and greets, they're more fun and more dynamic if you make it like that. So you can either go up, say, hey, will you sign this and take a picture? Cool, bye. Or you can go up and strike up a conversation. Even with a masked character, you can still have a fun interaction. Even
just thinking up a simple question related to their movie, like Aladdin, for example, how's Abu doing? Just that simple. It starts up a nice short conversation.
Yeah.
They don't want it over like 30 seconds, but it's definitely better to do it that way.
It doesn't have to be
opinion.
in and out.
Right.
Yeah. Except, I've heard Disney cast member horror stories who are friends with characters who say, like, ugh, they tried to, like, prank me, or they did this, and they did this. Don't be a jerk, please. Like, don't be the one who's like, do you know what this iPhone is? And, like, ask them a bunch of questions that you think might get them tripped up. Like, I don't know.
They're here for your
enjoyment, not for your interrogation. So, going around to the right is Aloha Isle. Is that?
Yeah.
Oh, well, you get there's a passageway that goes into Frontierland. But if you skip that, there's Aloha Isle, and this is where the beautiful, the coveted Dole Whip is. So the Dole Whip, it's pineapple soft serve, but we usually get the Dole Whip floats, which I think are better.
I think
it's pineapple juice in the bottom, like in a parfait cup, and the pineapple soft serve on top, or you can get a swirl, which is like pineapple and vanilla swirled together. You can mobile order here, which I would highly recommend.
You're gonna wait in this line more than you are for the carpets.
Aladdin, yeah. Definitely mobile order here. I think, okay, if you kind of like pineapple, I would try it, just in case. If you do not like pineapple, go to Sunshine, but if you think you might enjoy it, I would try it because, I don't know, I feel like it's a must-do.
I agree.
They wouldn't make so much merch
it's
for
a
Dole
rite
Whips
of passage
if they weren't
for
good.
your first, like, if this is your second Disney trip and you haven't tried a Dole Whip yet, you have to.
It's on the Disney bucket list for sure. So next to Aloha Isle, that is the Enchanted Tiki Room, which we're going to be rating everything. We're going to try to make it pretty consistent. And one of our ratings for the show, like for shows, is it a nap show? I think that Tiki Room could be a potential nap show.
I mean, compared to the rest of the stuff in Magic Kingdom, I'd say it's probably
Carousel of Progress.
Third. After Carousel of Progress and then PhilharMagic. It's probably third, but like it's bench seating.
Yeah. And they don't hit your head unless you're like a kid.
Pretty loud.
Yeah, so it depends. It's a musical show. It is not interactive. It's a sit down. You're in a circle theater, so wherever you sit, you're going to get a good seat. I will say the benches aren't particularly cushy.
No, they've worn down
for sure. Time. But it's a place to rest, and it's great. If it's really really hot one day and you just need to chill,
it's a great place to beat the heat.
Definitely. So the characters aren't they used to have Iago from Aladdin, but they don't have any characters anymore. It's birds that are specific to the Disney ride.
Right. It's the original soundtrack and story from the old original Tiki Room.
Yeah.
This attraction was actually the first place that they used animatronics. which I think is really interesting that the first thing they did was make it as small as possible and fit into a bird.
Yeah, it's a classic, that's for sure. And the song is really, really catchy if you want to stay awake.
It really is.
Yeah. Okay.
That might keep you awake in this.
Yeah, definitely. So going again, on to the right is the Jungle Cruise. Oh, I'm sorry, wait, going back for a second. The Tiki Room. It is a family-friendly thing. Not inappropriate at all. Kids enjoy it. That's it.
I mean, generally that's the thing with Disney. There's
there's like thunder and it gets a bit dark, so I guess it depends, but I think
generally it's
for the most part it's fine. Yeah. Jungle Cruise. This is a classic attraction. If you're on Twitter in Parks News, you might see that a boat sunk. But it's okay. Flex tape offered to fix it next time, so we're all good on that one. It is Fast Pass. And I would recommend it as a Fast Pass.
This is one you need a Fast Pass
for. It depends. Some days it's slow, some days it'll get up to crazy numbers that I don't understand, but it depends. It's not air conditioned, but it's shaded. It's a boat, and you just go through. It's a flat ride. Like there's no drops or anything, and
I mean there's one part where it gets dark for a minute, but that's the only thing that would scare a kid.
Mm-hmm. But nothing jumps out or anything.
Right. This is the largest ride, like in area in the Magic Kingdom. So, like, it takes 10 minutes to get through the whole thing. I like it.
Yes. Again, there's no characters on this ride either. It's its own thing.
Yeah.
And the charm of this ride, why it gets up so high, there's a skipper driving the boat. Don't worry, it's on a track. And they have jokes, cheesy puns. If you're into super cheesy jokes and puns, this is the ride for you. I think it's amazing.
There's some classic jokes that your family's going to use forever and ever.
For sure. No, the script is relatively the same, but every time you ride it, you're going to have a different skipper and a different person who tells them differently. Yeah. So no matter how many times you go on it, I feel like it's always entertaining.
It's the way they produce the jokes that really makes a difference.
Yes. And then we're going to go on to the magic carpets of Aladdin. So again, this is Aladdin themed, just like Dumbo, and it's a bench seat, so it's about 2 in the back, 2 in the front, and you each get 1 control. So I think the front controls up and down, and the back controls the tilt.
Don't quote us on that.
Or it switches, one of those. And does the camel spit at you?
It does.
Okay, the camel spits at you again.
But you have to be at a certain height because they can't. It doesn't aim at you if you're up or down.
Yeah, I think it's a pretty easy bet. You can get fast passes for this. Yes.
I'm not sure on that one.
But I don't know if you need them. I feel like
you definitely don't.
Yeah, it depends for sure on the day, because if you go during Christmas vacation and we say, oh, you don't need a fast pass for that, you're gonna need a fast pass for that.
You kind of have to multiply anything that we say the average is by 2 if you're going during
for sure
Christmas or New Year's. Don't go on New Year's.
So yeah, it's pretty simple, pretty straightforward. So we're gonna move on.
So this is turning the corner, and I call this the Pirates area.
Well, it's between the Tiki Room and the Jungle Cruise. You go through there.
Right. So you take a left if you're coming out of the Jungle Cruise. And it turns this bend, and I call this the Pirates area because that's really the only thing that's over here. Or that's the only thing that's themed over here. So the first thing you're going to see is the big tower. And that's actually a source of the Magic Kingdom portal, in case you were wondering. So that's Pirates of the Caribbean. This is one of my favorite rides ever. I really like that the movies were based on the ride and not the other way around.
Definitely.
It definitely... I like it when parks stuff moves on and becomes traditional media for everyone.
Right.
So this one does have a small drop. So if your kids are scared of that, maybe not. But I think, honestly, maybe don't tell them about it and just get them on the ride because it's so good.
Yeah, it's I don't think it's significant. I think it's pretty small.
Right.
You do need I would recommend getting a fast pass for this.
I agree. It's at least once on your trip. Like,
yeah.
if you're only going one day to Magic Kingdom, don't get it. But if this is your second or third day, this is one to pick up.
For sure.
Because 40 or 50 minutes, I think, is the average. Yeah. But throughout the day, it can get to like 75.
Yes. And if you decide to stand in that standby line, the line is relatively interactive. I wouldn't say interactive, but there is stuff to look at. Like there's
little
theming and little scenes set up for you in there. So is the ride family friendly? It's dark, and if your kid does not like pirates, they will not like this ride.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's dark and there's spooky pirates. There's also a scene in the beginning where you most likely will get wet, especially if you're sitting on the ends of the boat.
This is not Splash Mountain wet, but it's... I mean, it'll dry off by the end of the ride, probably. But, I mean, if you're sitting in water, then it's not. But if you just get a little on your jacket or something...
Yeah, it's not enough to ruin your day, but it's enough to be aware of, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, there isn't anything jumping out at you except for the water. But again, if your kid doesn't like pirates, they're not going to like this ride. Other than that, it's a family-friendly ride. The characters, again, since he said the movie is based on the ride, Jack Sparrow
was not in the original ride.
Right, they added him, and he's the only character from the movies that is in the ride.
Yes, so the ride influenced the movies, and the movies influenced the ride after that. It's a mess.
If you haven't been to Disney in a while, they have changed one scene. They changed the auctioning women scene because... not PC, but now they have a character Red with 2 Ds at the end, and she is a redheaded pirate in a red dress, and there is a backstory on her if you want to Google it. There's like some forums stuff and articles about her. She is the highlight of a lot of merch, which I didn't understand until I looked up like her backstory, which isn't discussed anywhere. So, I don't know. I think it's kind of confusing that they added her in and didn't tell anyone about it, or didn't tell anyone about her.
There might be a sign like in Tortuga about it, but it's definitely not
common knowledge.
Right. They don't spell it out for you.
And hey, maybe they'll make a little movie about her. I don't know. Or
we'll see.
We shall see. What else?
Oh yeah. So this ride is 9 minutes long. All of the rides in here are basically 10 minutes long. This ride, Jungle Cruise and Tiki Room, 10 minutes long. I didn't look up Magic Carpets. I think it's like a minute and a half though.
Yeah, it's not very long at all.
So at the end of this ride, there's a gift shop. And there used to be a, let's say, boys' version of Bibbidi
Bobbidi Boutique. I think there is still. No?
So I heard it was going away.
Okay.
And I'm a little upset.
It's called Pirates League.
Yes.
But you can be a boy or a girl to do Pirates League. And they basically, I mean, obviously it depends on who you are and it depends on what you ask them for. But for the most part, they give you an outfit and they draw a beard on you, maybe some scars, a black eye, an eye patch, that kind of thing. I think it's super cute. Did you ever do it? I think
I may have done it once. I think it's like $40 or $50 for the whole thing, which like you get the costume. So if you're just buying a pirate's costume, it's going to be $50. So I thought it was a good value.
Definitely. And if your kid isn't, like, if you have a daughter who isn't into the princesses and wants something a little bit more tomboyish, this is a great option for them. I'm glad that they included boys and girls in this one. I think it's a good idea. And I agree.
Well,
that kind of sucks that it's going away.
Boys are included in...
They are? Oh, yeah, they have a Prince one.
BBB?
Yeah. Yeah,
BBB.
They have a Prince version. I forgot about that. So, this gift shop, it has all of your pirate needs.
Toy guns, toy swords, eye patches.
All of it.
toy boats,
Mm-hmm.
anything pirate related, they have.
And this is kind of strange, but in the Germany Pavilion of Epcot, they have a crystal shop with like very fancy tiaras that are like metal and jewels and stuff. They sell those there, which I think is kind of strange that they don't sell them at Sir Mickey's or by the castle. But if you want like a fancy tiara, they have them in the gift shop of the Pirates area. So
Pirates booty.
Yep. Across from the Pirates ride is Tortuga Tavern, which is a Pirates themed restaurant.
So this was rated 5.67.
That's bad.
These are
That's so bad.
by allears.net. This is the worst rated restaurant in all of Magic Kingdom, not counting Tomorrowland Terrace, which we'll get to. It's not open any time.
Literally, it's always closed.
It's never open. So this restaurant, bless its heart, it's struggling.
Yeah, I feel like it's gone through a couple of food type changes. Because it was like Mexican food for a while.
Then
and
Pecos
now...
Bill took that, and now they took the barbecue.
Well, no, Pecos Bill has always been Mexican.
Oh, it was, yeah. So this restaurant, I think it only serves 3 items. It's a turkey leg, a brisket sandwich, or a brisket hot dog.
Yeah.
So, if you're a vegetarian, run away.
Absolutely not. Well, yeah, they could do better. Come on, they could do better. Characters and theming, it's not a character dining experience. It's a quick service location.
It's themed relatively pretty well.
Well, pirates, but it's not characters.
No. Yeah, it's not themed after anybody specifically.
The price level, cheap. As far as Disney goes, it's cheap.
Yeah, so like cheap for Disney is $15 a meal on average, I think.
My laptop is talking a lot.
Up.
Yeah. I would say it's probably cheaper, like 10. But,
I agree.
You know, $10 isn't cheap for a meal, but Disney, that's cheap. So it is quick service, and since it only has... Listen, we don't know everything. We're pretty sure it sells only 3 things. So if you have picky eaters, they're probably not going to like this. If you have any vegetarians in your family, they might be able to find a side dish.
Ooh, also, if you're going to get a turkey leg, please share it.
Oh my gosh.
It's literally the most calorically dense
I'll look it up right
thing
now.
in all of Walt Disney World.
Mm-hmm.
It's so bad for you.
How many calories?
You could split it with 5 people. It's like 1,100 calories, isn't it?
Yeah, it's 1,100 calories.
Ugh.
That's a lot. I feel like we might have had one when we were little, and we haven't had one since then.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
Salty. No.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan.
So coming out of Tortuga Tavern, there is some like benches and seating or whatever, and that is the Frontierland doorway for the parade. So I watched the parade here, and it was great. There's like a wall, and you can stand on that wall, sit on that wall, or just stand on the side, and it's a really good spot to watch the parade. The parade does not go through Adventureland, but Adventureland leads into Frontierland, and that's where it starts. So, right there, Festival of Fantasy, not Move It, Shake It, that's only Main Street. But, if you want to watch the Festival of Fantasy, and you don't want to reserve a spot for an hour,
that's probably the place.
Last time we were there, I literally walked up as it was starting because I heard the music and I started running. And I walked up and I got the perfect spot.
Running away from it or to it?
To it, of course. To it. I heard the music and I was like, it can't be that close. And I followed the music and there I was, the perfect spot.
So, we talked earlier about what's it called?
Oh, wait.
The Pirate's Adventure.
Yeah, and I have something to say after that.
Okay, so we talked earlier about the Pirate's Adventure Treasure of the Seven Seas. So you have to sign up, obviously. Like, SMK has a sign up at the fire station, and it also has one in Liberty Square. So this one is actually in Frontierland for some reason. It's right outside of, like, there's a big archway to the right, of Tortuga. And, like, if you just continue down the path that we've been going.
Oh, where I was saying you can watch the parade, yeah.
Yeah. So there's a big archway, and I kind of deem that the end of Adventureland because it's very clear that that's an end point. But right outside that is a little shed. It's very small.
Right to the left, yeah.
Where you can go in, and that's where you sign up on a screen. And like, there's no one in there ever, and there's a nice cast member in there always, and they'll just guide you through it. It's really
it's on a pirate map, which is really cute.
It's really fun. And there are like 3 different adventures, I think. Don't quote me.
Yeah, because they're a lot shorter than the SMK ones.
Mm-hmm. You can complete all 3 in a day if you don't have anything
if you put your mind to it.
Yeah.
Yes. So I'm backtracking, but right in front of the Pirates of the Caribbean ride. Caribbean. I am so sorry.
Yeah. Okay.
Go for it.
Okay, so there's a little... So there are like stages everywhere, but they're not obviously stages. I would say it's a little scenery patch.
Yeah, for sure. And Captain Jack Sparrow has a meet and greet there. I'm not sure of his times, but he's not there all day long. I would say that this is one of the most fun character interactions. Unfortunately, we haven't seen him in a while because like the hours are just off. But I remember meeting him as a kid, and I see vloggers all the time meeting him. He's a really, really fun and interactive character. So again, just going back to character meet and greets, face characters are generally going to be more
interactive.
Yeah, and better at conversations than masked characters.
Masked characters,
they gesture.
Keep it to yes or no?
Yeah, they gesture, and the character attendant is like, "Oh, Mickey likes your shirt," and stuff like that. But the face characters are a lot more interactive because they can talk. So, this meet and greet, again, the times are a little bit weird, but he always shows up here. And if your kid likes pirates, this is a great opportunity for them. If you're an adult who thinks maybe you want to meet him, do it, because honestly, he's so much fun.
It's really fun to interact.
Yeah, because he acts super silly. And, I don't know, he wants to talk to you about where his ship is, where his hat is, what happened to all the rum, all that kind of stuff. Yep. He's a fun guy. And I think that's all of the character interactions. I think there's only 2.
I think there's only 2.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm backtracking again. I'm looking at a map and I'm finding more things. So, next to Jungle Cruise, there is like a small pond. And you can rent those little boats.
They don't do it anymore.
Oh, okay.
They shut it down. You used to be able to rent, or not rent. You just put a quarter in a machine and you can drive a little boat around.
Like around a pond.
I miss those things. Like they had pirate ships and they had the actual Jungle Cruise boats. Yeah. Just miniaturized. Those are so fun.
Yeah, and it was like super cute and just a little thing for your people to do, especially if they don't want to do any of the other attractions in Adventureland. It was a great place, but I guess it's not there anymore. So Adventureland, it's the second smallest, but compared to Liberty Square, it has a lot to do.
Yes.
So second smallest in location, but not the smallest in our hearts.
It has the largest ride.
Well, because it has pirates, and we love pirates.
Yes, we do. Something really interesting, I think, is the Imagineers, they designed this land to where you can't see anything else. You definitely can't see the castle from anywhere in the land unless you're 9 feet tall. But like even in the Swiss Family Robinson treehouse, they designed the tree to where you can't see anything past it, and the only way you can see is over the Jungle Cruise, so it just looks like a vast forest. Because the Jungle Cruise is so large. I think it's really well done and well themed, the whole land. I think this is the best
Welcome to Disney.
I think this is the best themed land in all of them, in my opinion, just because you can't see anywhere else.
I have a soft spot for Fantasyland. I love it. I like the colors. Well, I also think that Main Street, the architecture, is really, really well themed.
I agree.
And Tomorrowland. I'm just going to list all the lands. Oh, well, I really like... No, I like them all. Obviously, everything is themed. Well, and to a T.
Thanks for listening.
This one's going to be a little short because Adventureland is a very small land.
Yes.
And tune in next week because we're going through all of Magic Kingdom, and then
Yes.
we're going to go through every single park, and we're probably going to do the resorts as well.
Mhm.
So, you know, it's going to be a very...
We might take a couple
long time.
breaks in between to have some other themes for our episodes,
Yeah.
but
Because it's going to take a while to get through
it's
everything.
going to take a long time. But I think it should be really... really... What's the word?
I'm not in your brain.
Really helpful
Ah.
for people who
Yes.
haven't been here before.
Definitely.
Except for this last
Or
5
people,
minutes.
or people who have and who want to relive walking through Disney.
Yes.
If you're looking for content in between our podcasts, we're on all social medias? Question mark? We don't really go on Facebook or TikTok, but we are on Twitter.
Stay tuned.
Except we are really, 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 really active on Instagram. We have
Yes.
all kinds of stuff going up all the time. We're still at Siblings in Wonderland everywhere. On Twitter, we're at Sibs in Wonderland, but you can probably look up Siblings in
Just
Wonderland.
Sibs Wonderland.
Oh, well,
We'll have all of it in the description of this
Yeah.
episode if you just check it out there. And it's definitely, like, if you're on Spotify, it's on the description of the channel, like, all of the things.
And if you're listening, then we filmed this. We've filmed our faces also, so you can go over to YouTube if you want to see our faces.
We have.
If you're watching, we also have an audio version. So
Yes, we do.
we have it all,
You
baby.
you can do this all over again,
Yeah, you can.
but just in your ears.
For sure.
All right. Thanks for listening. Next week is Frontierland. Stay tuned for that next Monday, 8 a.m. Thank you.